Do you need a rack mount server case that supports ATX hardware but don't have all the money in the world? I might just have the answer for you. Hi, I'm Morbidos from Level 10 Gamers, and today we are doing a review of this case. This is the Chieftec UNC-410S-B to be precise. It is a rack mounted server case, and before we start this video I'd like to give a quick shout out to Barnacules. I had actually recorded the entire video before I saw his video on how to do a multi-shot video really easily in Adobe Premiere, but his video sparked me to actually redo the whole thing, so I scrapped that project and I started over, and here we are. We have our new camera angle over here, and you can probably just see my hand over here, and I have my little handy cam right here to use if I have to show you some details that are not visible from this camera angle. So let's get down to business. I chose this case because it supports ATX hardware, which is important for me because I don't have server hardware at the moment. And also I had a rather tall CPU cooler, tower style cooler, that from the specs that I found on the internet looked like it's going to fit within a couple of millimeters of this case. But it turned out that wasn't true, because there's a little rise just where the motherboard sits inside this case, and also there's rather large standoffs for this case. So I ended up having to redo the whole cooling solution. I had to buy a new cooler for this motherboard, but in the end I think it turned out better and I'm happy with it. Now if you haven't already checked out Barnacules, and if you don't know who he is, check out his channel. There'll be a link in the description below. He is both skilled and funny as hell at the same time, so it's just brilliant. Now, the nerd facts about this case. It fits 19-inch racks. It is 50 centimeters deep, which is about 19.5 inch for y'all Americans, so that you don't have to convert it for you. It has, as you can see, it has a lockable flip down front closure, or door for those of you who want to call it that. It has 4 3.5 inch bays inside. You can stretch it to 5, but I'd leave one out just to have room in between the drives for cooling. In front there are 3 5.25 inch bays. These can be converted into 4 3.5 inch or 2.5 inch, whichever way you want to look at it. With a there's an adapter you can buy for this case that converts this into 4, as I said, and you can hold either SATA or SAS drives, which is very nice in a server. We didn't get that optional adapter because our retailer here in Norway were actually out of stock, but once they resupply and we get enough actually cash to buy it, we will, and there will be a separate video for that in the future. Now, as I said, it does support standard ATX motherboards, but also standard ATX power supply, which is great. But again, with an adapter, you can install redundant power supplies in this case too. We might convert into that in the future, who knows. For now, I'm gonna have to swap the power supply in this because it belongs to Sangyo, but for now we're sticking to ATX power supplies. In the front there are 2 80mm fans, and in the back there are room for 2 I think they're like 60 or 40 millimeters. I haven't actually measured. Yeah, that's proper data or facts checking for you there. But by the looks of it, it's 40 millimeter fans, and also there's place for an 80 millimeter fan in the internal hard drive holder. And if you get the converter, there is also a 80 millimeter fan in that. Cable management wise, there are a good amount of ways or places to fit the cables and hide them off very good. I haven't done the best job I can inside here just now, because as I said, the power supply belongs to Sangyo and I will have to swap that out soon. So when I get mine back, I will redo the cable management and I'll post a picture on our Instagram. When it comes to build quality, anything that Chieftec makes seems, or used to be, but it is usually very, very high quality steelwork, as is with this case as well. Very nice steelwork. The paint job isn't the best, but that doesn't matter because it's a server case and it sits inside a rack and you're not going to see it unless you're looking at the front. And again, it just doesn't matter. Let's have a look inside, shall we? Building inside this case was, as with most regular sized computer cases. Put this aside. Don't fall over and make a ruckus, please. As with most standard size cases, it was with this. There's plenty of room to build, plenty of places to put things. The only complaints that I do have is this little rack here for holding hard drives. I don't know why they put this directly above. As you can see, it is fitted, whoop, let me get in here, directly above the CPU cooler, which sits below here. Hence the reason why a tower cooler is not possible inside this chassis, unless you remove, this bracket is removable, but that takes away a little bit of the rigidity of the case, and I ran it without for a couple of days and it just warps. The case itself came with a lot of screws and a lot of cable anchors or cable management anchors, which you could glue in if and where needed, and this little, I don't know what it's called, a little grommet to fit around the cables that you needed. So I was actually surprised about that. I wasn't expecting that from a server case. The first complaint I have about this case is the actual instructions manual that came with it. It was a technical drawing made in, I don't know, CAD, and it contained all the information about what goes where in one little A4 sheet. And on a day-to-day basis, I work with technical drawings at my regular job, so I really shouldn't have problems reading them. But with the one that was included with this case, I struggled a bit, and it took longer than expected. And I would really like a step-by-step guide instead of this, and I refuse to believe that that would actually take any time longer or be any more expensive to produce. Aside from that, there are only two things that I have a problem with this case. The first one being hard drive mounts. I feel that in this case they could easily have made more with the space and the things that I have in here. Under these hard drives, there's this little cage, which you can see here, that holds absolutely nothing. It sits directly in front of, or directly behind the front mounted fans, and there's just nothing there. And I don't see the point of doing this. There might be one. If you know why they did this, post it in the comment section below and let me know, because I'm really wanting to know. Now, for placing hard drives, you can place them here, Also, there's one down here below the 5¼ inch that's probably meant to hold a floppy drive, but nobody uses that anymore. But also you have on top of this bracket, as I mentioned, room for 2 hard drives as well. I wouldn't put 2 in here even with the fan, just to make them or give them a little room to breathe. I would put 1 in, or maybe 1 and 1 SSD. That would work. But other than many more than that, there isn't any room for. And I think they could easily have converted this into a hard drive mounting place, like we have in regular chassis. Of course, you have the optional converter for this, but that is an optional. Set this down. That is an optional that you actually have to pay for and order separately. So, Chieftec, you could have done it a little bit better there. There are room for what we need it for right now, but for future expansions we will need to buy the expansion bay for the 5¼ inches, and also fill in these slots here. The other thing that annoyed me, or I have to pick on this case, is the included fans. They were absolutely crap. They were some generic brand Chinese fans. They had a Molex connector, so they weren't PWM in any way, and they were very noisy. And I know this is a server case and noise isn't a big focus area with servers. It is more airflow, and I have to say the ones that were in here do push a little bit more air than the one I put in. I had to swap them out for some noise blocker fans that I had laying around, and they don't have the strongest airflow rate. But I will be swapping them for some Noctuas in the future, which will take care of the flow rate and also the silence. In a server case that sits in a data center, that's not a problem with noise. My server room is in my basement and right next to my recording space, so I actually need silence. And also this expansion that I was talking about has, as I said, a fan inside. I reached out to Chieftec immediately when I saw that, and I asked them what kind of fan that was in there. And they replied back to me nicely and told me, and also showed me pictures of the fan, and it is a regular 80mm fan there as well, but it's some Chinese brand that nobody's ever heard about, and I would recommend swapping them out with some Noctuas as well. So I asked them, would that void warranty? And they replied back to me that no, that will not void warranty if you replace the fan, so that's very nice of them. I also don't like this pivot style button that they have here. I'll show you. As you can see, the start button and the reset button are like flipped. They're pivot buttons like this. And it starts. That initial fan noise you heard were from the graphics card, not the CPU cooler. CPU cooler will be in a separate video. I have some thoughts and opinions about that as well, but let's not dwell with that right now. As you can see, I have a Asus Corsair 3 Formula motherboard in here. I've got 8GB of RAM, and I've got a AMD Phenom 2, it's a 965BE, I think it is, running at 3.4 GHz, so it is way more powerful than it needs to be for a NAS, but that's what I had. Time to conclude. All in all, it's a very well built case. It serves its purpose as a little or a small to medium sized NAS setup. You could probably manage without the expansion, but we do recommend getting it, both for the extra added hard drive cooling and also the ease of installation should one of your drives fail or you want to expand with more drives. Thank you for watching, and thank Chieftec for good support and for making good products that we can use.